and welcome to Frank's retirement home. My name is Sparked I'm joined by the wonderful Vivi with Deacon on production, and we are in the midst of our playoffs. We had the good old time in the play-ins last week, but this time we are actually back at the matches to see who's going to come on top for the Canes division. And we have the two blue teams this time around, the Sea Serpents versus the Headhunters. And Vivi being the other blue team that's been knocked out, how would you feel about these two teams?
Well, this is, unfortunately, you had to bring up me being knocked out. I don't appreciate it, Sparks. But no, jokes aside, no, these two teams have had a interesting season to say the least, right? I know Mystic Sea Serpents is kind of this very good vibes team. They're here to have fun and play around, so they had a lot of troll games, but they have also had a lot of games where they played a normal draft and have looked really good. So they're one of those teams that's really tricky to place, right? Among the competition in Canes. And I think the top four teams realize that because, in case for those who might have missed it, technically the top three teams got to pick their opponent for playoffs, and then the fourth got stuck with whoever was left, and the Sea Serpents were the team left. And like I said, for good reason. When they are taking this seriously, they are a pretty strong team. But we'll have to see what kind of mood the Sea Serpents in for this game.
Yeah, looks like they have their starting five as well, so no kind of substitutes this time around. So both teams getting full rosters, full teams. Going to be interesting to see how they play out. Sea Serpents boast a few big names that you may know of. Our head editor Zelda is on the team, for example, but the Headhunters, they've got people like Orion Pax, commonly described as one of the best solos in the league. So whether the Headhunters can take this game away from the Sea Serpents, dethrone them, and knock them out first round is all up to show when it comes to the picks and bans, but the draft is going to play a big part into how this game at one turns out. And this could be a good set, a 3-game set. It's highly possible. We see it in Canes all the time. There's a lot of 2-1 matches. This could be another one in the coffin, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we are going to be starting these picks and bans here in just a second, and kind of want to talk about picks and bans, right? We just had the bonus patch come out for the 11.3 update. Couple big changes. One of them obviously Odin eating a couple nerfs, and Odin's kind of been running that solo lane for a while now, and of course with Bomble being buff, which did not get touched yet, but in 11.4 will be a luxury item. So kind of excited to see where these teams are going to prioritize their picks and bans, especially with the patch that recently happened.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing a few of those being taken away immediately. Karen, the multi-role prodigy, whether he's in solo, support, or mid, he's always putting up the numbers, taking it away from the Headhunters as the first ban. The Odin, as you said, getting taken away. But also an Aphrodite ban, which is not something you see too often in the kind of league matches. We see it in the Pro League a fair amount due to just the high amount of play and survivability it gives. So I think the Sea Serpents know that Headhunters aren't afraid to play it just in case, to take away one of those kind of comfort picks that is annoying to fight against. And then speaking of annoying, we also removed the Thoth, one of the most annoying mid laners in the game.
Yeah, King Ballarus has been snap locking this Aphrodite in pretty much every game he's been able to play it. Afro, a support who was pretty meta for a good chunk of Season 10, but Season 11, one of those characters that, in my opinion, is still actually good and relevant. I just don't think a lot of people want to play her. And, obviously, you got a lot of the comments and the from the community like, oh, Afro's so cringe. And I think that might deter some people from wanting to play it. But obviously, in a competitive setting, you play what you will win, even if it is, quote, cringe, right?
Yeah.
But good recognition on the side of the Sea Serpents to take that Afro away. And then good old Squidward, as I like to call him, going to be the first pick here for the Sea Serpents.
One of the most meta solo laners right now, just very strong. But I also want to point out this is a team with Zelda. Zelda is known to be the Morrigan main, so we could see the double squid come out later on. Because that Morrigan wasn't banned, and this is something that Zelda does face a target ban of a lot. But the Headhunters opted to go for the Kukulkan and the Thoth. So they've got a few more options for mid. You've got characters like Discordia, you've got Zeus, who is still very strong right now. And a lot of ADCs that have also come back. The Hachi's been taken away, which is completely fair. Very, very strong ADC. But you've still got a lot of options. The Ram, the Cernos is coming back. All these characters that can do well. But they're going to look towards a Nike Hover Nike into Cthulhu, bit of an interesting one. What are your thoughts on that as a previous solo? And I know you're ADC now, but you have played solo before as one of your main roles.
Like a dual main like role now. I got back into solo, and pretty much solo and ADC are my go-tos. But disregarding that, so if you would have told me this before the spicy change that Cthulhu got, I would say, this makes sense. Nike has two ways to interrupt Cthulhu's main wave clear, right? However, he can't be interrupted. He could cast that and it just goes now. So the big benefit for Nike in that solo lane kind of just falls off. Granted, Nike, very good laner. She's always going to be safe due to her ultimate, her fast mobility of her leap, and just having really strong wave clear. But I am curious to see. I'm assuming this must be a comfort pick on Orion's side to lock this in early, especially to deal with someone as annoying as Cthulhu. But matchup wise, yeah, I can't say with the changes that it's very particularly good for Nike's favor.
Yeah, and Nike's also good at the diving the ADCs, and as we see the Sea Serpents lock in that ROM that I was talking about before, it's going to be pretty hard for the ROM to just do damage to this tank that's in front of you with, barrier shield, the massive shield that comes out of the ultimate. It's going to be difficult, but one thing that I see is very interesting that gets popped up is a Vulcan pick. Now, I know Hershey has a lot of interesting picks for this mid, the Ra, the Vulcan, but we're going to see the Vulcan being picked in. Gives a bit of mobility away, but Vulcan suffers against the Athena, especially piloted by King Boris. What are your thoughts on that?
Vulcan's an interesting case, right? Whenever I see a team lock in Vulcan, it immediately tells me, all right, these guys are playing the objective game. They want to make sure they can lock in these objectives and feel confident that they're going to be the ones to take them. That Vulcan ultimate is just so reliable for securing it and, of course, stealing it, right? So even if they maybe are not the ones initiating that Fire Giant or Gold Fairy, the other team has to be wary that the big old Earth Shaker is going to come over the wall and just steal it and just take away most of these health bars if they're all on it. So I definitely see that as what the possibility for what the Sea Serpents want to do, especially with Rom as well, who also has a nice snipe to steal away objectives. So Headhunters need to be very careful with how they are gonna take these objectives. They need to make sure these carries are down, or they they need to be super sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the Sea Serpent's draft is looking more like a teamfight composition than objective control. Yes, you have the Vulcan and the armor, but you have no CC inherently compared to what you see on the Headhunters, who have a knock-up, a pushback, a taunt, a stun, in fact, multiple stuns. It's going to be hard for the Sea Serpents to actually get into these objectives if they're being controlled and zoned correctly. And as we see the kind of second round of bans come out, we're seeing that exact same situation happen. The Thanatos, the Alkang bans taken away from Headhunters. Headhunters know what they want to play for this match. And they're kind of target banning the character that would cause an issue for what they want. Meanwhile, the Sea Serpents are taking away more comfort picks while playing their own comfort picks. You don't very often see a Soul being banned, for example, but it's taken away off the board this time.
I do think it's interesting because you were talking about Zelda being a Morgan specialist, right? And he absolutely is. So we were kind of thinking that maybe they're going to lock in this Morgan for this mid lane, but now, obviously, well, Hershey is normal mid laner, but maybe they can always switch roles, right?
Yeah,
so
I do believe Zelda is the ADC for this team.
Yes, but I mean, heck, maybe even the Morgan ADC, who knows? But regardless, Morgan, always a very popular combo with Cthulhu, but obviously probably in a very weak spot at the moment compared to most mages. Even with the Do More buff, she still kind of feels pretty iffy, so that might have deterred him from that. Anyways, we do see our next set of picks being locked in here. We got the Ishtar to round out that ADC for the Headhunters, even more CC. Granted, not super reliable, but still something they have to keep an eye on. And then Wheelix, the jungler lock-in for the Sea Serpents.
I think the Wheelix is a bit of a sleeper pick. I know it's one of Swagmaster's kind of go-to gods when he's not playing like the Amaterasu jungle, but the Wheelix is a great way to shut down this Nike. And if we've already confirmed that the Nike is going to be an issue for this Rama Vulcan, the Wheelix can see that Nike is going to jump in and they can target this Nike immediately, take out the solo, and then turn the tide in their favor. And then, as I'm seeing a hovering for their final pick, the Kuzenboat's even more disruption, which comes back to this whole team fight orientation. for this draft, and they're going, hey, if you want to advance on us and take the fights, we're going to just harass you and try and win this fight. So this is a really smart draft by the Sea Serpents, and if it pays off, it could do a really good job, but they have to deal with this CC of the Headhunters, and that's going to be the big question mark.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the CC for the Headhunters, and then, I mean, lack of CC on the Sea Serpent side. I mean, sure, Kuzubo is pretty annoying, and he could definitely push people around, and then if he does use that ultimate, he's just knocking everyone around, which is great for Wheelix, right? And of course, the knock-up, the meatball from good old Vulcan is another reliable setup for this Wheelix, right? But overall, you don't have really strong setup for Earthshaker, so and honestly, I think it's definitely more of an ultimate you use for more objective control rather than, try to burst somebody down. But, it's going to be interesting to see how they run this comp, because sure, you have a wheel assault, but that's also not reliable because it's one target, and the other target, assuming the carries are getting beads, which please help me if they don't.
You're against an Athena. You'd hope there's a beads involved.
So it's gonna be interesting, and we kind of just brushed over the Marty pick, and now we confirmed this double hunter comp. But mid hunters have they did eat a very small nerf in the bonus update, but definitely not anything, in my opinion, that's gonna completely knock them out of the mid lane. So Marty now having 110 seconds on that ultimate, so a little less safe, but I mean, you're building full CDR on him anyways. You're not going to feel it much, especially since you'll probably have that Jotuns or Transcendence pretty early into the game.
And that Soul Eater. Don't forget that big Soul Eater buff. But the key thing about this Headhunters draft is also the fact that they have 4 physicals and no magical damage dealer. Because don't forget, this is a Athena support, so this Athena is likely not going into any damage items. So this means the Sea Serpent support in PGD Dean can just build a bunch of physical auras, grab that Sov early on, and is going to really mitigate a lot of what the Headhunters do in these team fights. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the Headhunters gonna try and kind of tackle this, not going for like a magical jungle or a magical solo to try and counteract the fact they have this double hunter comp. Because when you're going for a Marty last pick, that's what you want from your comp. You want this double hunter. So where the foresight was into having that extra magical damage apply from, I'm not entirely sure. But they have a plan. They've got this far, so they must have something in their minds like, oh, we can do this instead. But Vulcan into Marticarus, pretty good matchup for Hershey.
Yeah, I mean, Hershey shouldn't have too much problems here against the Marty. I mean, they're both honestly just got to be doing their own thing. Marty, the one benefit he has in this matchup is he can throw out that one and it just does so much damage to the wave. But Vulcan has a turret. he can just place that bad boy down and be really disruptive and make it where Marty needs to be a little bit mindful of where he is stepping and how he's utilizing his abilities. I also kind of want to touch on the fact, because you mentioned obviously the 4 physicals from this Headhunters. I think a big factor of this game and how it's going to play out is how these tanks are building. You mentioned the sovereignty. I want to see like double Guardian, man. Like I want to see like very strong counter building from these tanks, because you can make the backline of Odin's Headhunters, feel so useless. You can make him hit like butt spaghetti, right? So I really hope we do see this. I hope we don't see them kind of look up like a build on Twitter real quick and they're like, all right, that's good, kind of deal. So
good old Smite Fire builds.
yeah. Please don't go to Smite Fire right now and be like, all right.
I mean, speaking of Smite Fire builds, as we start loading into these matches, we'll see some of the builds come out from these teams, what they're going to go for. But I think no, never mind. I thought we were going to go into a poor section, but not enough. The Vulcan going into the Shroud first as their starter. Not something we see too often. We're seeing a lot more people build Conduit as their starter with cooldown changes. We're seeing Conduit, Kronos in the mid, but we're going to see a Vampiric Shroud into likely a Spear of Deso immediately.
Yeah, I'm trying to like process the logic behind it. I'm not sure what Hershey's cooking up here. Maybe he's gonna go for some really like weird lifesteal build. I mean, we got items like Rejuvenating Heart, right, that are kind of silly. And I know a lot of people have done some really funny builds with. But and like I said at the start of this cast, this is a team who likes to do things more for fun. Sure, they absolutely will try to win, but they're not afraid to like do something very gimmicky or something more just fun for them instead. So maybe we'll see like a weird lifesteal build come out of the Vulcan. Please, I hope not. Or maybe he's just testing some stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen Soul Gem being built on a lot of Vulcans, just allowing the extra power for the meatball to come in. So we could see a Soul Gem Typhon still being a pretty staple with the 20% penetration it offers. So there is a possibility in that, but I do think, you know, you're generally just going it for the final starter upgrade, where you just do 15% more damage with abilities at the cost of something for health, not necessarily going for the lifesteal aspect, just going for that extra burst damage. That's what Vulcan is known for. Because if you get an Earthshaker off with that bonus damage, that could just straight up one-shot Squishy. Go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that is 100% a factor that like people not realize, right? Obviously, everyone knows it hurts, right?
Yeah.
To be one shot by an ultimate, especially with all the changes with health, with damage, you know how much power's in the game. You don't see that very often anymore. Vulcan's still a character though, like you said, with that proc and even like a Soul Reaver proc and everything else, can absolutely make that happen.
As we see a bit of a gank come out from the Swagmaster here, trying to find them, but they're close to the tower line, so can't find the knockups. As all three bunch around this tower line, Athena not having a taunt available to pull any of them into the tower, but it does force a Loyalty to play a bit more carefully with that health. Low mana, low health means that they're going to need to be a little bit more careful as they advance on this wave. Gets the dash out, but Rom going in, doesn't find the dash auto, but look at that CC chain. Athena now the one in danger, but Cruising Boat misses the upper, and Athena gets out for free. Meanwhile, Vulcan in a bit of danger, heading into the Thor's grasp, but gets away for free.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a scrappy fight there in that left lane. Surprisingly, not even a single relic pull. That was, you know,
no.
Obviously when you kind of gank a lane, you're kind of, if you don't get the kill, you're like, oh, well, at least I got the ultimate or a relic or at least something down, right? Unfortunately, though, neither side got anything from that. Besides maybe pots taken. I mean, we do see that Ishtar is out of pots right now, and Rama has still a multi and a health pot in his inventory. So that will actually matter, especially with Lodi kind of a little bit lower on that HP and mana side. So the pressure is definitely on the Sea Serpent side. So it definitely wasn't for naught, but, you know, it still kind of stinks when you don't get something big.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Swagmaster, noticing that the loyalty that Zishtar has, the mannequins, they know that they don't have that much sustain, so those pots are even more important when you're going this kind of aggressive start. And with the loyalty already being forced back in the tower line with something that you really want to get ahead early with, it's going to be really bad for the Headhunters in the long run. And as allows, I was going to say, we should see some more pressure coming out the left lane as we see Swagmaster go over into this right side and try and push some pressure in a 1v2 on side of the solo lane.
Yeah, I was about to say, no way he goes in there, right? You did just see your Cthulhu back, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully Kaio communicated that, but we never know. In case people don't know, Kaio is in Trust We Scale, one of the name changes that we see ever so often. But look at Thor playing around this corner, trying to find a wall, but doesn't hit the mark, and is going to try and back away. Meatball over the wall, again, doesn't find its mark right now. But so far, the Sea Serpents have a great early game advantage under the Headhunters.
I don't want to talk about something interesting I'm seeing here from the supports. PG Dean, or PGD Dean, that's a lot of D's. I'm just going to call him Dean, you know what?
Yeah.
We could represent your org Dean, but unfortunately it's just too much of a mouthful to say, so you're getting called Dean. Anywho, we see him going into this Gauntlet of Thieves first, right? And there's always, you know, we see a mixture of, do I go Gauntlet of Thieves, or do I go Prophetic? I think Kuzubo is a god that 100% should be going Prophetic majority of the time. Now, actually, let me back up this statement because I'm recognizing the team comp on the other side. So in this case, actually, yeah, I'm gonna backpedal. I realize my error, but I'm gonna backpedal and just say that he's actually that's actually genius that he's going God of the Thieves. Because normally Kuzubo is a god that definitely should get Prophetic because it's so easy to stack.
Hold that thought as we see Watergrave pop the beads from Ishtar, but look at these body blocks. Kuzenbo holding his ground. Zelda picks up first get of the game in the first blood. Perfect positioning from the Sea Serpents to take out this lone Ishtar in the duo lane. Once that Athena leaves, it's a rip, and there was no ultimate forced out either, so Defender of Olympus still available, but doesn't save the life of the ADC.
Yeah, that was just great recognition and great positioning on Dean's part, man. Ishtar could not go anywhere. Kuzma just being a big bully, being a wall. Love to see it. Great first blood coming out of the Sea Serpents.
Yeah, and it's strange to me that Aloyti didn't pop the beads there, knowing the danger against a Kuzenbo. Uses the CC immunity from the ultimate to try and survive, but it's just not enough. So maybe if that beads was expended, there wouldn't have been a kill, but it's one of those things where hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, I think, in my experience, and just for me being a global level player as well, you see a lot of people who maybe are trying to hold the relic for a while or trying to hold the ultimate, whatever it is, right? They might be looking for a better situation to use it. I think that is a really tough habit to break at times, and something that I think people should really realize more. Like, yeah, okay, let's say he does beads there and still dies. Okay, yeah, that's a bummer. Your beads are down, and also you don't have the ult. Oh, hold on.
Oh, Ishtar, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of.
Yeah, Wargrave expended once again, just keeping Ishtar in place and allows for some free snipes from Zelda, hitting all three, I think, by the looks of it. And even if Zelda didn't confirm the kill, guess who was here just in case? Swagmaster Uwu, Awelix lurking in the corner, and it's going to try and get some invading farm as well, looking at Thor. So Thor could be the next in danger. Ultimate expended. Thor is now going down, but with Defender of Olympus used, Athena's back in the mix. Teleport comes in a little bit too late for the slam down damage. Awelix is safe, but no rotation needed from anyone else. Awelix still on the hunt, though, looking. Trying to get the most out of the shop, I think. It's on the ground, about to leave, but Awelix wants the fight. They want the smoke. Thor, are you going to able to do anything? But the backflip over the wall. Swagmaster knows what he wants, and he takes it by the throat. Poppin' Nike falls. What a invade by the Awelix.
That is... wow. So, obviously, Awelix, one of the best early game assassins in the game. Just early game characters, I would say, honestly. Right? Yeah. Just so much burst. Good mobility, really difficult to deal with early. So obviously, great recognition on Swagmaster's part to realize, hey, we just got to pick and left. I'm feeling pretty good. I got a level lead. Let's go invade this jungle.
Yeah,
and has a brawl with Thor, and then obviously he's gonna win that. What's Thor gonna do this early? I mean, maybe Thor can do something if he ults in first, but obviously that's not what happened there. But the recognition to realize, hey, their speed buff's probably up because mine was just up. Let's just go take it. Oh, no.
Speaking of taking it, he's taken the fight once again. Doesn't have the level lead anymore and realizes that he might be in danger just in case someone else makes that rotation. As we see Krusty's path into the right jungle, but Awelix is still around, misses the jump, gets walled, and now I think Swagmaster's in danger. Backflips in time. Can Thor get in the air? Hammer of Dawn is up, but Orion Pax comes in with his one, takes Swagmaster out, punishes for the transgressions, but Hershey is around just in case there's any further fight. But Thor opted to get out, and with that low HP, I'm not surprised it's lighted, but that's a good punish from the Headhunters.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about how Swagmaster did a great job recognizing like where he's kind of stronger and where he should be taking advantage of, Wheelix's early game strength, and then he goes and shows, hey, maybe I got a little overzealous there, right? Let's tone it back. Granted, I would much rather have my jungler be very confident in his plays and in his aggression than being too scared, right? Because at the end of the day, even if it is a bad idea, it might work out. So I recognize it, and maybe Swagmaster can be like, all right, yep, that was silly. Let's let's be a little bit more careful next time, especially when I'm that close to the lane, and Nike's most likely going to come over and just stop me from doing what I want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Swagmaster taking that fight badly and taking the L in that fight, the rest of the team is still profiting. All of their lanes and all of these players have a level lead. That's so important for a jungle to be able to do that. We see this 2-level lead in the ADC. Ishtar running for their life with the purple under tower line. And Zell steals it away. Aloyti struggling, but Kuzenbo here once again. He wants to fight, dashes in. But do you have the damage? He has Wargrave and the knockup perfectly timed. What is that? When I say this was a team fight comp, we see perfect example of that from that teamwork, communication, and patience. We didn't even know Swagmaster was there until we just see an Ishtar being yoinked from the air. what a play by the Sea Serpents to take that. And now they have so much pressure in this left side of the jungle. What can the Headhunters do to try and change that?
Not build mannequins. I mean, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a side note here and just talk about mannequins, and this is why I think people need to not be building mannequins like this in ADC, because of situations like this. Not only is the mannequins just not scale very well in the late game. I mean, sure, you can get the upgrade, which basically just makes you do more damage to like the fire giant in the late game, which is really nice, sure.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly as good as like a leader's collar, which we are most likely going to see here from Zelda. But like when you mannequins is great for when you're playing super aggressive and you get a lead, because then you just have so much pressure and all that. But clearly that's not happening here. And now that you have mannequins, how are you going to catch back up? Because you don't have sustain. You do not have reliable sustain, and you are already now so far behind. So I don't know. In my opinion, Odin Headhunters need to realize that this just need to be playing a lot safer. Granted, in that one fight, I think Lodi was as safe as he could be under a tier 1 tower, right? Wouldn't even expect that. But maybe Odin Headhunters need to get some...
Hold that thought. Hammer of Dawn, he's in the sky, taking that fight against the Willix, but didn't want to go in, as we saw a bit of a mid-brawl come in. I mean, the Krusty's not having Death from Above available. Marty could be in danger, but the Willix is still taking this fight into Thor. Boris doesn't have Defender of Olympus just yet, but we're seeing some good wall double taps come in from the Thor. It's just not enough to kind of take that fight. Vulcan was around it just in case. We're trying to see the Sea Serpents really control this jungle. I don't know if you noticed it before when you're talking about mannequins, but we're seeing Swagmaster quite literally ward the enemy camps to get those timers and just be on top of the invade. How many jungles do you know that? Kuzumbo. It's... Like, I know you have thorns to get the extra protections, but my god, man. I think Dean is feeding himself for this pick, and honestly, he's playing it well, so I do not blame him. As we see him trying to take this fight into this beacon, Cthulhu making the rotation, but Nike is going to be very late. So it looks like in the favor of the Sea Serpents, but if the Headhunters can... Oh, where did... What? Thor? Where did you go? But Swagmaster does fall in return. Martikara is getting a lot of confirmed damage as Cthulhu pushing to the tower, but the Earthshaker comes out, forces death from above, so Marty's not pulled out. But the fight is in the favor of the Sea Serpents. Nike jumps away. Not going to try and take that fight, but 1-for-1 for both jungles. And the beacon going in the favor of the Sea Serpents. That's a win in their book, and they're going to take this gold lead up to 4K.
So, what killed Thor? Was it the Kappa?
I assume Kappa.
Okay. I didn't see it, but like, I was sitting here like, no shot, right? Because he just died. He just poofed. Very unfortunate. Great on Headhunter's part to at least get something in return, right? You get a kill on a Wheelix again. That is nice, but obviously losing the objective and not good. And we are starting to see, you know, Krusty's not... I don't want to say that, jeez. Okay, Crust. I'm gonna call him Crust. Yeah, I'm not saying that on stream, my friend. We obviously see Crust here kind of just show off why Marty is still a valuable character. Just so much simple and obnoxious damage coming out of this hunter. So, yeah, but unfortunately, though, what do you do here? It's Sea Serpents are just running away with it. You're talking about Kuzumbo and Dean on this pick, just looking so confident. And that's exactly what makes Kuzumbo so scary, because you can be confident. Sure, he was a little bit aggressive there in that mid tower before that beacon fight started, almost dying to the tower itself. But, like, look at him just walk up and walk around everything. I mean, it's because he can. He is so tanky and just super obnoxious with the CC and he has. He picks up the mystical mail here. I would hope to see a sovereignty, but that's also okay. This just kind of goes to show how confident he's feeling, right? I'm just gonna run at everybody, and I'm gonna be the one in their face. You guys need my backline doesn't need peel, because I'm gonna be on the enemies being as obnoxious and annoying as I can.
Hold that thought as we see a fight breaking out on this Gold Fury. Vulcan getting the damage off before Thor can even land. Hammer of Dawn expended, but the health bars of the Sea Serpents are a little bit low. They need to be careful. They don't want to take that fight and are going to back away after claiming their prize. But the Headhunters just a little bit late to the rotation. This time Cthulhu doing a good job at zoning around. And the team just looks confident all around. You know, you see Zelda in the lane. He's got a 2-level lead, but he's also holding the wave. How many people do you see do that at this level of play? Not many people just sit there and run away. Everyone's either impatient or they want to go get farm somewhere else. Just sitting there and saying, hey, Aloyti, come to me. I'll happily fight you when I've got this lead. come to me and we'll take it in a 1v1 situation. Zal doesn't care, just says, this is my farm, you're not getting it. Hershey's just walking at people, throwing meatballs, throwing the one, Earthshaker down. He's not afraid to fight either. And then, as we discussed already, Dean, this entire team just looks confident in their picks. Thor getting his backstop, the good old, you would say lazy back, but the beat is expended, but it doesn't matter. Swagmaster Hydra Auto takes out the Thor again, and even more pressure to right lane. Nike looks to be next up on the chopping block as we see Cthulhu use Descent to Madness. The backflip does get the ult away from Nike, but Nike ups down under the tower line and is taking so much damage. Look who's around. Vulcan uses Earthshaker, doesn't find the mark. It's a 3v1, but Orion Pax cannot find the mark as the fourth comes over. But they look at these health bars. Marty lurking in the grass, trying to find some prey. Throws the one over the wall, trying to find that secure onto the blue, but just going to give it up and say, I don't want to take this fight just in case I get caught out of position, because the Sea Serpent's going to look for their next objective on this map, and that's the Pyromancer. Can the Headhunters stop this aggression as Athena dashing in? Watergrave popped as well, trying to find that taunt. Sea Serpents do take the Pyromancer, and Cthulhu's going to do some nasty body blocks onto Krusty's. He can't leave. Why is this so unfortunate? But there was no follow-up damage, so Muddy is going to be half HP. Thor in the air with Hammer of Dawn, looking for a target. Meatball on yourself, says the Vulcan. Lands on the Cthulhu. Great wall. So Cthulhu needs to try and escape somewhere. He does have a team to help him, though. Great meatball from Hershey. Knocks away the Athena and the Marticarus. Ram in the air, looking for a target. Snipe one, snipe two. Hits 2 out of the 3. Third one, just a little bit too late. It doesn't find the markers. We see Wheelix fighting up the left lane. Ultimate pop from Ishtar. Blades of War do not find the mark just yet. Ishtar has nothing up to secure that kill into Swagmaster, and that'd be great for this split push on the left side, but Cthulhu's around. Can you get that back of in time? It can. Aloyti safe from the madness. And that was just a brawl of all time across the entire board.
Yeah, listen, I ain't about to break down the last 2 minutes. Swagmaster, come on. Screenshot it. Come on. Somebody.
The surrender vote as well immediately.
I respect it. I feel it. Okay, yeah. Listen, so that was just fighting after fighting after fighting, which happens a lot in lower level games, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of want to talk about the fact that I really like the decision making on Odin, right? He's like, you know what? I could rotate. What is that going to do? Oh, jeez. Hershey just smacking.
Hershey's doing so much damage, but it's a 2v4 situation as Ishtar coming in as well. Never mind, Nagi's here as well. The Hammer of Dawn misses, doesn't find the Vulcan, but he's got an Aegis, but it's not enough. But the Meatball takes out Pop and Nike. A Vulcan still alive at 1 HP. Nike doesn't want to give up that kill at all. Duking and weaving. Come on, Orion, use your one. He's chasing so hard. There we go. Finally, Hershey falls. But Orion pays the price for chasing so much. Descent into Madness gonna take away this backline though in a 1v3. Trying to find that extra damage, trying to find some poke, can't find it. Kaio, being a menace, stops the back of Athena as well. They have so much pressure on the Sea Serpents across the board. Even with a PvE death onto Swagmaster, they still have confidence. They still have the power of teamwork. And just like in the animes, they have the power of friendship on their side.
I was about to say, yeah, they got nothing trumps friendship, all right? Yeah, please don't fight. I think Spark needs a break.
Ishtar.
Yeah.
Ishtar. Ishtar, no. Ishtar, no. The dash was blocked.
Stop! Oh, no, they missed!
Aloyti.
Okay, I think maybe.
Oh, Kaio's getting back to his team, trying to get to Dean in time, and doesn't realize that he had the entire Headhunters team looking for him there as well. But he got out pretty safely there, so that is worth it. But the Golf Fury is available, so this might be the Sea Serpent's next objective. Or, you know, with how they've been playing, we could see a Fire Giant fight. It's very possible. And with a team like this, obviously, we haven't been talking about... Oh, hold that thought as we see a great pull. Nike taking so much damage. Meet the Earthshaker in advance.
Nike jump!
There is nothing Pax could do there outside of jump and couldn't find the mark, but the Headhunters, they're in danger. It's 4 versus 2. But Hammer of Dawn makes the mark, finds the Wheelix, forces that beats. Never mind, doesn't even force it. Thor, Pop, and Nike is the next to fall. 2-man knock up under the tower line. As we see Cthulhu just healing his team back up, ready for this siege onto the Citadel, but they are going to disengage and look towards this Golf Fury, as I was expecting. But the Headhunters, they do not have the HP to contest this. It's only Swagmaster who's really in danger, but Dean gonna tank this goal free, and it's gonna be a fight as we see Vulcan just 1v1ing Marty, forcing that back almost immediately, and that goes any hope of Headhunters coming in, as a Wheelix doing a great job zoning and also trying to steal away this this purple buff, make sure Loyalty has nothing, but doesn't get it, unfortunately. But the Sea Serpents do take that Gold Fury, which puts them at a very respectable 9k gold lead. It's just going up and up for this blue team.
Yeah, Headhunters, man, we're really starting to see this team comp just fall apart. And like I said, it's difficult. What do you do when you are playing this comp against two Guardians who are building practically? Well, I guess actually we see the Damaru from Cthulhu, which is still pretty good though, because you got two other magical users on your team, and it just helps you out as well. But like, yeah, I get what they wanted, right? Cthulhu's biggest weakness is hunters. Why not put two of them? But we're not really seeing that being utilized here, because Cthulhu is just barely taking anything from these guys. So, especially with Marty's, autos being slow because you're building a mobility base. I don't know. I'm thinking back to the draft, and this might be a hot take, but I think Rama is one of the best gods against Cthulhu because he's just one of the best naturally shredding gods, because you can utilize those items so well. I would rather have seen them pick this Rama in that first or second spot and not let Zelda get it. So maybe they could take that as a no for game 2. Oh,
ooh, Hammer of Dawn finds 3, but he needs to get a F out of dodge into the rest of the team. Poppin' Nike isn't so much danger. Watery Grave, after being backflipped, Poppin' Nike the first of all. Marty uses Death from Above to escape the grasps of the Sea Serpents as well. Sea Serpents are just taking these fights and not worried at all. And that is how a lot of teams win these fights. It's just pure confidence alone. If you know you can take the fight, you already have a severe advantage. The Headhunters, they want to do something, but they just can't find the teamwork to get through it. Even if you're hitting a 3-man Thor ult, which doesn't happen too often, you're feeling pretty good about it. Where's the follow-up damage? You don't have Marty there to kind of support you, and that's the one thing that Hershey does really well, is whenever there's CC from the rest of his team, whether it's a knockup, whether it's a grab, or just holding someone in place like the Kuzenbo, there's going to be follow-up damage. And that's why we see that very early Rodder Tahuti onto Hershey as well, because he's been utilizing it so effectively as he's topping this damage chart with Cthulhu.
Yeah, when you start getting into competitive Smite, there are a lot of things that are really hard to learn because you kind of got the habit from casuals or ranked, and you just really don't realize. And one of those is, how do you play from behind as a team?
Yeah,
it is. It's not hard to play from ahead, right? I mean, obviously you have the advantage. It's not exactly the biggest skill. Granted, it's skill to siege, which requires you to be ahead usually. Oh, but you know what? I guess I'll let you take it over, Spark, because...
Yeah. As we see Descendants of Madness and Hammer of Dawn used from both sides. Thor trying to find his good taunt, finds 2 people, but he's in danger once again. Zelda takes the gun to Poppin' Nike, and Earthshaker finds a lot of damage into that backline, but Krusty's takes out Kaio as well. Cthulhu has fallen for the first time in this match. But look at where Kuzenbo is. He's just 1v3 the entire backline. He's the solo laner now. Meanwhile, Nike trying to do the same thing, but it's having to run away. Good blink. Stops being hit from the meatball. But look at the contagion procs from Kuzenbo. He knows that he's being pushed around. And we see a little bit of a 4v3. Ishtar is not there, so it's an ADC versus not ADC. But the Sea Serpents are going to play this safe. They're going to opt to retreat, really, outside of a few poking abilities here. The turret pops down. Nike is still in, though. Going to play around the wall, jumps over it. Kuzenbo doesn't find the grab. And this could be another objective for the Sea Serpents to take, as we see that Gold Fury being spawned again very shortly. But Fire Giant still available on the map. We might see a regroup at some point as we see the fights break out. But Sea Serpents are going to look towards this Gold Fury, even with the health bars. But I think first they want to try and take a pick, as we see them group up in this jungle. War Flag procced. Nike is still around. Marty around that back, as we see a teleport coming out as well from the Cthulhu. He's going to be here to help zone, as this gets shredded by Zelda. There we go. I was wondering when they were going to start it. They hadn't started it just yet, but they're coming in now. Cthulhu holding off the entire enemy team by himself, for Willix to going around that mid to stop a Thor trying to pop him out. But Thor doesn't want anything to do with it. He's going to try and take some farm because he is quite far behind, sitting at level 16. sorry, level 17 just ticked over against the level 20 Awilix. And speaking of Awilix, it was kind of hovered by Deacon before, but how often do you see Awilix going crit?
Never. But you know what? Honestly, when you are as far ahead as you are, which granted you hit 20 now, you can't get the 21 or anything. So like eventually Thor will catch up in that regard. But like I said, this team just wants to do stuff that's like fun and silly. For those who are watching at home, please don't do this. Just not here right now. It's fun in like your arena games or even in your casual conquest games, but like in a competitive setting, if you're really trying to win, it is definitely not what you want. But we're about to see this big crit. We won't.
Thor is getting caught out of position multiple times. These backs, Awilix constantly finding them, but it's a 4v1 situation as Cthulhu comes in. Death from above is going to find Swagmaster, and if he didn't, Thor was going to take it. But Hammer of Dawn into Zelda's grasp. Falls immediately jungle for jungle, but with Descent of Madness proc, they still have some poke damage as the rest of the team is coming in from the sidelines. The jungle Vulcan trying to find some damage. Guess that was a big chunk from Backfire. Nike taking a lot of damage. Watery Grave pop to disrupt this backline as Zelda going into the edge trying to find some snipes. Hershey takes out one with the right impact. Snipe one, snipe two. He takes the damage, but Vulcan takes the kill. Hershey with a double. Nike falls down. It's a triple kill for Hershey. It's the mid versus mid. Left up, Vulcan wants this quadra kill. He's not afraid to take this fight, but neither is Krusty's. He's doing a lot of poke with the items that he has. Marty is wanting to take this fight, but he knows that any kind of combo could result in him dying, but Hershey coming out on top with a triple kill puts him very far ahead of everyone else. As everyone else going to try and take away the objectives they can. Cthulhu can't take the tower by himself without Zelda or someone else, but it's going to try at the very least.
I'm going to go back to kind of talk about what I was talking about before with the, learning how to play from behind as a team. And I will say that one thing that Odin's Headhunters has been doing great, and something that I feel like you don't see very often, especially at these lower levels, is they're not giving up, right? Now, there are definitely times where you do say, hey, let them have this. It's not worth, right? But they are making sure that they are there for these objectives. They are making sure that they're at least putting in effort to make sure that they get something, regardless if it's a pick, relics, the objective itself, whatever, right? And that's what you need to do. And I know that their team comp is very hard to actually like steal with, right? When you have Earthshaker and on the other side to easily secure it, and we are going to probably see this be utilized for this Fire Giant pull. But I really respect it, and I think it's just great play. But Thor is up in the air. Maybe we're going to see a delay here.
Yeah, Zelda are going to opt to back away immediately, drop the Fire Giant. It's a great call by the Sea Serpents. We don't see that being utilized more often. But it's been good zoning from the Vulcan, or from the Cthulhu. Vulcan's going to get some good damage off as we see Awilix blink knock up. Doesn't find the grapple with Moonlight Surge, but he's going to find the kill to pop in Nike anyway. No beads matter for you. Zelda up in the air as well. Going to try and find Athena maybe. Athena 1 HP, dash away. Snipe one, but it's out of range. Athena safe at the very least, so it's just Nike versus 2. Look at the damage being used by everyone. Swagmaster takes out one. Kaio takes out the second, but he's under that Phoenix line, so falls in return. So Kuzumbo versus Ishtar and Athena. Defender of Olympus expended, but Athena 1 HP. I was going to say that did damage, but hit Swagmaster. That's a triple kill. He's doing so much, looking for the quadra. Will Kuzumbo take it? He does, and that's a quadra kill for Swagmaster, but he dies in the comeuppance. That's a good shutdown bonus, but at this point, I don't think it matters because Zelda pushing that mid Phoenix. This could be an end call. 6 seconds on Pop and Nike. Are they going to go for it? We could see it. Zelda, I'm sure, is in the comms just shouting, end. Earthshaker.
Wait a minute.
He didn't know what to aim for. Do I go for the person in the fountain or do I go for the Titan? He missed both. So this is going to mean the Seasons are going to have to back away. But with a Phoenix in hand, a Fire Giant in the other, they're feeling pretty good about themselves after that.
All right, so obviously, Caesar with the Fire Giant, right? Headhunters are like, oh crap, we gotta go, and then definitely lose a couple picks there. And we do see Kai out, or Trust Me Scale, I'm sorry. It's just so many name changes, man. It's difficult to probably keep up. But we see him just so hard dive for that kill on the right bird. And does get it, but loses his life for return. Now here's where this went really wrong. We saw Balrus and Aloydi chase this like Kuzubo, who's like at 60% HP, who has been tanking everything this entire game and has Fire Giant. and Athena's at like 10% health. That was, yeah, I'm gonna put it very bluntly, just very, very dumb. There was absolutely no reason to do that. You are not hurting this Kuzenbo very well right now.
Yeah.
And even if you get the kill, you gotta realize that there's gotta be somebody else around, and that's what happens. Swingmaster Uwu comes in, gets double kill there, or technically quadra from because it continued from the fight before, and then
Look at that shred.
oh my goodness, that's the crit and Wheelix build coming out for you.
Nike has to jump. Moonlight Surge late though. But I do think Pax doesn't stand a chance. But Thor's around, as is Defender of Olympus, so this could be danger for Swagmaster, but is going to find a good dash away to safety of his team. And look who's around, the Kuzenbo, who is not being afraid to fight at all, and instills the fear of God into Poppin' Nike as he is going to get out of dodge as well. The Sea Serpents, they are just not afraid. They know they have this game very easily as long as they don't make any misclicks. The Headhunters, you know, at this point in the game, one bad siege from the Sea Serpents means the Headhunters could take so much away from it. But with another Phoenix down, Cthulhu and Ram are going to back away. And with the base cracked, Headhunters looking a little bit rough. What do they need to do in this situation to get back into this game?
I will actually say that I absolutely love the play that they made on, well, the idea of the play that they made on that right lane, right? Sure, Nike's definitely not going to be able to take this Wheelix one-on-one. Maybe Nike could have played that a little bit better. But the idea to like pour Thor's resources and the Athena ult to just make sure we get this Wheelix down and, you know, maybe go back and defend our left lane. It's just really unfortunate that the mechanics were not there. The actual execution was very poor. Lots of missed abilities. Just was not able to finish off that Wheelix. But yeah, I mean, make plays like that will definitely help if you can execute them properly. But you really just need to be very careful. We can tell that Thor is just not having a good game, and he's struggling. And here we go.
We see the fight breaking out. Fire Giant is down off the team, but Poppin' Nike is going to take out Swagmaster with the help of Marty on the left lane. That's a good start for the Headhunters, as we see the base being cracked. Cthulhu doing the most he can, but the rest of the team just can't find that damage off Athena, 1 HP. Zelda going to find that damage onto Boris. Hammer of Dawn being used to try and find someone else, but Hershey takes out Pax. 2-man stun. Poppin' Nike. Chain Lightning takes out Kaio. But look at these health bars. It's down to Ishtar. Aloyti takes 1 and Aloyti takes 2. Cannot find the third, but Thor's going to blink, chase down this Vulcan. Marty is also there just in case, but a backfire means that Thor doesn't get the damage, but Papa Nike takes him out, and that's a perfect deicide for the Headhunters as they shut down that siege. Yes, they lose their Phoenix, but they are going to get a lot off this. In a few moments' time, that Fire Giant's going to respawn, and that could be the prime target with your 3 damage dealers available to you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you asked me what they would need to do. 100% that. What a beautiful just defense there from this team. I mean, I think Sea Serpents got a little bit overzealous, but for understandably so, though, right? I mean, they had 2 birds out already, and then they get the 3rd. And it's just great play out of Odin's Headhunters.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing this really start to slightly shift in their favor. But
Nike, no. Nike's going to look for the Wheelix as they come in. It slams down. We see that chain damage, but Swagmaster is going to try and take this fight. Athena doesn't find the taunt. Headhunters take the Fire Giant. That's an EFG for their members, but they are low. Finds a good one to Cthulhu to stop the damage, and a good teleport away. Aloy takes out Swagmaster. Everything is going inside of the Headhunters' favor right now. They're playing from behind. They've realized that, look, guys, we've hit 20. All we need to do is play better. And they're doing exactly that, taking out any attempts. Swagmaster's getting overzealous and they're punishing him for it. This is what the Headhunters need.
Yeah, 100%. This is, I mean, granted, they're still not in a great situation. You're still 14k down, despite, you know, which is, at this point, well, we're definitely seeing it from support, right? Support still has a full item. We are, but that's 3k pods. That's also fully upgraded relics, which most of them on the side of Headhunters are fully upgraded, but that adds up. But they still have those 2 birds down, and they are forced to have somebody have to make sure to defend. I would not. I get the logic about having Nike do it, but Nike can't defend both lanes very easily. And I get it. You want Nike to be able to TP back in once a fight breaks in or something, but honestly, I feel like you don't have to rush anything down at this moment. You can just simply have, yeah, there we go. Have your people just push these lanes up, make sure they are safe, make sure your birds stay alive, and then start the siege because you have time. You got 2.5 minutes before your fire giant wears off. So yeah, and unfortunately though they backed as soon as this beacon came up, and I get it because they didn't want to fight that without their soul laner, but yeah, this is still a tricky situation for them. So I'm curious to see how Odin Hunters will play this out.
Yeah, they've been given a brief moment of respite. Having all 5 members with this enhanced fire giant is definitely a worthy buff. But if the Sea Serpents group up and take this fight, they could end the game very quickly because these Phoenix bars are low. As we see Wheelix try and take that fight onto Marty immediately, but just takes a whole bunch of damage, doesn't find that blink off, and now Swagmaster is in danger, does find the backflip, but that Hydra auto crit does so much damage, but the rest of the team is there to help. Swagmaster falls once again, and immediately they're going to back away to make sure no extra fight can be taken. They're taking no precautions. A bomb popped, but it misses the
No way.
Kaio is literally a big targeter. How'd you miss that, my friend? What a waste of a runic bomb.
Doesn't even move. Very unfortunate. Look, we've all done it at least once. Let's be honest.
Have we all done that once?
Yes. Because I've done it, but it was just because I forgot my thing was on Instacast for it. I just fucking plopped it, and it just was not even next to the thing. I was like, don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so we're really starting to see Wheelix's biggest weakness, which is late game, and crit being built on a Wheelix, but yeah. Oh, hey, you just said that a bobble has been sold. Let's see what Wheelix decides to pick up. Yeah, this is like, I get it. You're gonna get a big juicy crit auto with the Hydra's proc, and that does feel nice. But realistically, in this kind of late game setting, you are not gonna get into a setting where you could easily get that Hydra's proc off anyway. It's so hard for a Wheelix to make a big impact in this late game, and in my opinion, Wheelix's best use in the late game is the ultimate. You want to pull somebody in.
Yeah, good wall onto Kuzenbo, but the rest of the team doesn't want to take that fight just in case. They know that if they lose one person, it could be danger for them. But going back to the Wheelix is really good in a 1v1 setting, and especially with this kind of crit build that Swagmaster's gone, you have a lot of potential to just insta-give someone. But even with Thor taking these really bad fights by himself, he's got a teammate there at all times. Whether it's a Loyalty, whether it's Krusty's, whether it's even Boris, there is always going to be someone to make sure that he's not alone. So Nike's able to kind of get this return fire in a 2v1, 3v1 and shut down Swagmaster. Setting Bauble makes a lot of sense. Replacing it with Berserkers, I'm not too sure about. Yes, physical defense. They have 4 physicals. We talked about it earlier. Also, by the way, no soft, which I'm very upset about. On either of the tanks. But they did opt for the anti attack. You have the Emperor's armor, you have the Mid-Guardian on Cthulhu, and it's working out for Kaio for the most part. But yeah, Berserkers. Swagmaster is just building at this point. It's not even a Smite Fire build. He's been in the lab with this one, but I'm not sure the lab was fully working at the time.
Yeah, I think it might have been an April Fool's Day lab or something. I honestly don't know. All I know is that I would rather you have Bauble. The Berserkers, in my opinion, is not going to do what you want, and I get the logic behind it, but like a Wheelix in the late game, your big thing as a Wheelix is you just burst, right? You're not realistically going to be autoing them enough. You're trying to burst them with that too, and then hopefully you get the kill, or at least weaken some of them where your teammate gets the kill, right? Or you ult in and do Wheelix shenanigans. That's really what you do as a Wheelix in the late game. Berserkers does not help you with either of that. So if you want a physical defense, I honestly just get like a breastplate or a guardian mail against these hunters or something. So the Berserkers makes a little sense. And I also do not like seeing the 2 Void Damarus for these Guardians. I can understand what Kuzmo's doing because it actually works well with the Mystical Mail.
Yep. And his 2 Thorns.
Yeah, 100%. It actually has a lot of synergy there. But you don't need 2 of them. So one of them should definitely sell it, get a Sovereignty, in my opinion, because that's really going to start helping you a lot more. I mean, Cthulhu can tank even better if he does not have that. So I would actually like to see this on the Cthulhu, which normally you would want on your support, but in how they've been playing this game, and of course with just,
Oh,
how much he's
Wheelix.
taking. Oh no.
You know how we were just saying about Wheelix is a 1v1 character. Wheelix finds himself 1v3ing and is forced to back away with the use of the beads. But now Kuzenbo is the one in danger. He's fighting 4. He's fighting his demons and is gonna die for it. Dean, what? Nike? Pax, where is the danger? Pack's gonna use his ultimates for whatever reason there. Probably a misclick. We'll go with misclick because it happens to all of us. But Headhunters, they force away one, kill another. And they are staying in this game. 40-minute banger could be a 50-minute game. It's what we talked about earlier. It's going to be a good set as we see both the teams kind of try and find their way in to end the game. Headhunters have all their Phoenixes back. So that Titan at full HP once again. But with these help... Swagmaster.
Oh,
Swagmaster. Okay. Doesn't get CC, doesn't get punished that time, but he was in a nest of wasps there. The Headhunters were ready to take him out, just couldn't find that damage, that CC to find. Did I just see a meatball do 1,200 damage?
Yeah, probably. What do you mean? Yeah, let me guess. He's got. Yeah, I was like, can you see if he has a 3K pot? I didn't know that Spectator did that. That's actually cool. Yeah, I mean, 3K pot, late game Vulcan, makes sense. Can we actually look at his build real quick? I want to see.
I did a 3K pot on him.
Yeah, he does. If you go back to the thing, it shows the symbol for it.
Oh, it.
Yep, it's right there.
It's just weird that it doesn't have the particle effect on him. I'm so used to seeing the particle effect.
Oh, actually, yeah, I didn't even recognize the particle effects out there. Interesting. Anyway, can we go back to the build? Yeah, okay, so Soul Reaver, which obviously doesn't really apply here to the minions, but it's really, I didn't even recognize he went brought it to Hootie second.
I called out earlier as well.
Well, I'm sorry.
Hates me.
It's spiky. There's a lot of things happening.
Also, as we see Dean fighting his demons again in the backline, taking half his HP once again, but it's tanking the Fire Giant. I don't think he realized the Thorns proc was affecting him and the Contagion as well. Raven Ward popped out from the Headhunters, trying to find out where the rest of the team is. Wheelix being forced to back in that right lane means that this could be the go button for the Headhunters. A good wall takes a lot of damage onto the other tank as well. Nike, in return though, one meatball, they're going to do a bunch of damage. Wheelix in the backline. Can they find their Thor? Looking for that 1v1. Here we go, talking about what we thought before. They're forcing the beats out early. And it means that Thor is going to get away. But Nike back in, trying to find something, but going to dash away. I'm not entirely sure what either team's trying to do here. They want to take the fight, but then they don't. And they take the fight again, and then they back away. Wheelix is still lurking in that right lane, trying to find a pick. But they're forcing the Headhunters back. They're going to try and find a way to take one person out, but the Headhunters are split, and that could be their downfall, but they are going to regroup. The second Cthulhu and Kuzenbo start moving back towards this Fire Giant, but this could be the Fire Giant that ends it all. Zelda waiting is going to start the shred, pops his stim, trying to find that damage, but Headhunters are around. This isn't going to be a free Fire Giant by any means necessary. Vulcan looking for a fight rather than dealing the damage, and it's going to drop it. But Kuzenbo staying in the pit just in case you want to re-engage. The fight breaks out. Sentinel of Zeus popped. Nike is not taking that much damage just yet. Hammer of Dawn in the air, trying to find the Wheelix maybe. Wheelix one back away. Slam dunk onto popping Nike. Means that Swagmaster falls, and the rest of the team has to back away. Vulcan also very low HP, but Thor is playing distance, making sure he can't be called out. And right now, the Sea Serpents are in a Scorpion's position, as they could be pincered from either side. Vulcan are going to go in the right jungle, knowing there's a little bit of safety there as the rest of the fight comes in. Blink comes out from Kuzenbo, trying to find that mark. That's a taunt into a lot of damage almost immediately. He can't get the kill into one. Almost takes it, but Aloyti is going to shred the tank. Finally getting use out of the build. A lot of shred coming out, and this is the Headhunters game. They've killed 2. It's 5 versus 3. But 2 low health bars and Headhunters mean that this could be dangerous. Cthulhu taking a lot of damage, doesn't have Descent available. Vulcan backfires into the enemy team. That is a deicide as Zelda comes back in again. The Headhunters, this is their game to lose right now. It's down to Zelda. Hammer of Dawn doesn't find the mark. Beads and Aegis. Oh, sorry, Aegis still available on Zelda, but there's the Aegis just in case. But the Titan Room is under attack. Can they take it? This is theirs. Nike still full HP. Barrier is stopping all that damage from Rama, and Zelda cannot stop the onslaught. after such a rough early game for the Headhunters, they bide their time and take away game 1 of this set in a well orchestrated attack.
That's wow. All right, so it was really weird because, like you were saying earlier, they were kind of just dancing. We didn't know what the heck they wanted to do, right? And they pulled Thor beads, and then they clearly saw Thor back, which is assuming why they kind of started aggressing more towards the team. But Headhunters realizing this and backed off to the best of their ability. But then Thor came back in, and Thor had no relics, and yet Thor kind of just got away with doing whatever the heck he wanted. It was really weird. It felt like, it's really important to realize when people use their tools and be able to capitalize off of them, and they did in that last fight. And unfortunately, it caused that fight to kind of go pretty south. And then Dean, I know he's been feeling himself. He was doing really good for pretty much all of this game, and then decided to, dash in on this Ishtar 45 minutes in, who is clearly going to make sure you don't live from that. Yeah, almost does get the kill. But, like, is that worth? It's just a lot of these really small decisions that they made throughout these, like, last 10 minutes really costed Sea Serpents the game. And I get it. And I'll reiterate, I know this team plays to do silly things and have fun and all that good stuff. But the decision-making was just super questionable, and I think that 100% costed them, and they just could not find a way to get back onto the hot streak they were having. But yeah. Good job to Odin Hunters, though. That was incredible showing from them to just not give up and really. I mean, they came back from about 3 birds down. That's one of the hardest things to do in this entire game. So, good on them.
Yes, and with the Headhunters taking game 1, we're going to take a short break on cast as they start preparing for game 2, as the Sea Serpents kind of regroup and think, what can we do differently for this next game to try and keep ourselves in this set? So we shall be back shortly. We'll hope you will join us for game 2. everybody. Welcome back to Frank's retirement home in this Mystic Sea Serpents versus Odin Headhunters Kane's quarterfinals match. My name is Sparktow. I'm joined by Black Mage Vivi as my co-caster and Deacon on the sticks. We do apologize for the slight delay. We had some small issues to deal with, but we are back, and after a banger game 1, we are looking forward to see what happens in game 2. Headhunters taking a big comeback victory. So with how this picks and bans phase comes out, do you think the Sea Serpents are gonna realistically make any changes to how they plan to play, or do you think they're going to change things up to try and win?
So, in my opinion, I think Mystic Sea Serpents draft overall was fine and pretty solid. I don't think that was the problem. I think it was, and as we were seeing the same bands come out, and then now we're seeing the clearly locked in. I think they realized that too. It was just very poor decision making on their end. Odin's Headhunters, on the other hand, which is weird, right? Because they're the ones who won.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones who should be changing up their draft because yes, they won, and I know people are gonna be like, oh, but I get it. Listen, but they were struggling so much, and they only won because of Mr. Sea Serpents just making really silly decisions. So I really hope that they change it. I mean, they already did. Technically, we had this pick before, but it was not picked up. Okay, well.
Okay.
I see how this
So far, 9 out of 9 things are the same from game 1.
Yeah, I guess just screw me and my analyst. Now.
It's good old caster curse. It had to be 1 every cast.
That's true.
But yeah, we're going to see the Cthulhu top picked once again. And Kaio did do a very good job on the Cthulhu. And with him being a top solo pick, I'm not surprised. This is the number 1 overall pick for this team. But the Marticarus and the Nike being picked up in the second slots. A little bit interesting because Marty, while he did do solid damage, it wasn't something I thought was that impactful to be picked this early. Nike, and again, just kind of got shredded by the crit relix, which could be an issue again this time around. But we are going to see Zelda lock in the Ram once again, but this time we have a magical jungle in the form of an Aokang.
Well, here's the good news. You can't build crit on Aquan. So
might too.
That's true, yeah. By the way, Founders Pack comes out on April 15th for those who want to play in the alpha. I highly suggest it. High risk, please play me. I'm advertising for you. Anyway, oh my god, it is tomorrow. Bro, this year's flying by. Anyway, we have a smite set. So Alquan in place of the Wheelix, and then the Gab picked here instead of the Athena. So interesting. I don't know why. I can't say why they would want the Geb super early. Now, granted, I guess Geb does kind of be really annoying against Alquan because you throw a shield on someone who's like just about to be executed, and they get cleansed. So super annoying to deal with as an Alquan player. Now, will they pull this off? Hopefully, that's only like main benefit I see in this Geb pickup this early.
Yeah. And also following up from that, we do see 2 respect bans, 1 from each team. Ishtar being taken away from Eloite on the side of Odin Headhunters, and Vulcan being taken away from Hershey on the side of Sea Serpents. So we both have an ADC and a mid to kind of fill out. Also taking away Janice, that's a new one from the ban section. Janice, a very annoying character to play against, so not surprising that one. But also Sol, once again being removed. It must be one of Eloite's comfort picks, but Eloite is going to opt for the Medusa. Now, how often do you see 2 ability-based ADCs in one game?
In comp, never. This is weird because, Medusa can be built both ways and do fine both ways. I do think she's definitely more stronger in terms of ability, just do her scaling be a lot higher. But you can still build the standard ADC build on her and do fine.
Yeah.
However, I think out of all the ADCs up, that is not the one I would pick. She's struggle. One of her biggest struggles right now is that she just can't clear away fully clear away with her abilities for a while. So that's gonna hurt her a little bit, especially since you kind of lost lane already in the last match. So I'm curious to see what Elodie's gonna do with this Medusa.
Yes, and then on the flip side, we are going to see the Merlin being picked out, a nice little shred character, and then also a Maui. Dean not opting for the Kuzenbo this time around, going to go for the Sun Hook himself, going to be the old Meowie. So this could be an interesting. Got a lot of setup this time around, and I think with an Ao Kang in your jungle, it's a bit more important to have that CC available to you. Just more displacement, trying to get that damage from Zelda and Swagmaster, from Zelda and Hershey, to just shred a target down the second they've been CC'd. Grapple them, burn them down situation. Once again, bit more of a team fight orientated composition, which I'm not surprised for. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're seeing a bit more in terms of the overall damage aspect with the Medusa Marty, the WADC once again, but also just the Geb is going to be a lot more useful in these team fights with, big cataclysms. But we're also seeing a bit of a beads burner comp come out. You've got the Medusa turned to stone ultimate, but when you have a Darshi and a Geb on the same team, you need to have beads again. The same concept of the Athena, but a little bit more important this time around.
Yeah, this Aji pick is actually pretty good. I like this here. There's one major downside, which is now your team's also running that 4 physical comp like before, which, in my opinion, one of the big oopsies of the Sea Serpents last game was the fact they did terrible on the counter building. There was not a single Sov. Sov just it's so good against a comp like this. Please somebody build it this time, right? So maybe that's gonna be a struggle for them if these tanks build properly. But you pull in Alquan for free, with assuming no beads, right? But like Alquan does not have a CC immune ability in his kit. Either does Merlin. I mean, and then just forcing out any of the other 3 alts is always gonna be nice. I mean, getting the Cthulhu alt out just because you chained him, that's great. That's one of the biggest team fight alts that they have on that side. And if you can force them to alt just so they don't get pulled in, that's a win. So now I'm a little bit worried because we did see Papa Nike really struggle in this game 1 on that Thor. He was missing a lot of his abilities and just a bit of questionable decision making. So when you play somebody like Dodgy, who in my opinion, with at least the chains, there's gonna be more mechanical skill involved. So that's my only worry. I hope Papa Nike maybe brushed off that game. He's like, you know what? Get all my deaths out now. I'm gonna pop in this game. Haha, pop. Get it? All right. Anyway,
I am now sad for some unexplicable reason.
that wasn't even on purpose. I clicked. It clicked in my head as soon as I said it. I was like, I'm a genius. And
Yeah. But like you were saying, it is a very important point that Nike is a very mechanical heavy god, and then unfortunately for Papa Nike, does very bad into an Ao Kang, especially in that early game. We see Swagmaster pilot an early game character very well, and it's the same thing with Ao Kang. He's got very good early game presence. He's good across the entire game. Unlike a lot of assassins who kind of fall off late game, Ao Kang's execute is always going to be viable, especially into a Nike who can't survive it with the shield, because shields don't affect execute HP. Which could prove to be very useful later on. But if Ao Kang can get a lead and start doing the same invades that we were seeing in game 1, they can put this Darshi behind very, very quickly, because Darshi doesn't have survivability against an Ao Kang. So that could be very interesting to see how that kind of works out, because if we do see Spagmaster go for these early invades and early presence again, then Headhunter's going to be put behind again. And that could be even harder to come back from, because we see Medusa go into Mannequins, your favorite item. So putting a Loyalty behind again could be dangerous for the Headhunter squad.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because the only real counterplay that Dodgy has is if she's getting run down by Alquan, is to be really, the pre-enter the alt when you really feel that execute coming, because it grants you that CC immunity. It makes you just not able to be targeted by it, and so it's kind of like what you do against Poseidon and Suji, right? As soon as you see that Kraken coming up, you just pop that ultimate, you get up on your Palau, and you're chilling. So I want to really see Papa Nike utilize that in a defensive strategy if needed. But corrected, that's timing's really tight, and then like I said, you have to kind of predict it. And if Swagmaster catches on to that, he can just be like, "All right, I'm gonna make it look like I'm gonna ult you, but I'm just gonna force you to ult." And then now that's down, and then I can kind of just hover, wait around, and, or even if I don't want to wait around, I just force your ultimate because you got scared of mine. So it's gonna be really interesting. There's a lot of like weird like rock paper scissors situations in this matchup between these two teams.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how both teams utilize their tools because there's a lot of cool stuff you could be doing to help counteract what something the other team wants to be doing. Um, but we'll have to see which. Gee, I mean, listen, you mentioned me not liking mannequins, but if there's one thing that mannequins does really well, it just gets you to lane right away, man. Like that's crazy how fast that they just cleared
Yeah.
that.
And even with a Geb as well, who's not exactly known for having good clear. Geb also opting to go for the shield in that level 2 slot. So no rollout available with Shockwave and shield available. One thing I want to point out though, which you may not have noticed, is the change up of build from Orion Pax. In game 1, he opted to go for the Bluestone kind of approach. Now he's going for the Sigil, going for the big boom. And upgraded his teleport early on, understanding that he might lose lane against the Cthulhu because he's seen it happen already. Because, same matchup. But is not going to have any potions. He only has the Chalice available to him because of this upgraded teleport. So this could put Pax behind significantly if played correctly by Kaio.
So I. Oh goodness! All right.
I was gonna say, Medusa dashed in but misses and then just kind of walked around for free.
Yeah, she's like, all right, well, redo. Yeah, listen, I 100% understand wanting to go just your starter and then Chalice and some health pots, right? You're doing that
Yeah.
because you're planning to get to your first
Ooh,
item a
actually,
little bit quicker. Ooh,
this time we see the invade, not the invade, the aggression coming out from the Headhunters jungle in ADC. Looking for that teleport in, looking around. It looks like the Serpents haven't seen it just yet, but Darcy may have just shown themselves is going to back out and try and take this mid camp instead. And Caesar is just going to play a little bit safe as we see a teleport come out as Alkang try and pressures this Nike. As I expected, teleport's going to help you, but it's only going to help you so much when there's two people in your lane, making sure you have nothing available to you. And because of that, Nike's going to pick up a ward. A smart play from Bax.
Yeah, and like I was saying, there are reasons to go that starter and then some health shots and health pots, but you don't upgrade your relic. This tells me that maybe if this is maybe what Orion is thinking, that they want to get that max upgrade as soon as possible to do an early rotation for like a gold fury or even just to be a nuisance somewhere if he needs to. Because then obviously now that you have the upgrade already, you just got to work on that one quest to get it upgraded for free. Or if you want to pay the 500 gold, go ahead. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to help you because now Cthulhu, in my opinion, is going to have a very free lane, and I can tell that we're going a more defensive route because that first item there picked up by the Nike. I am going to assume a Stona Gaia. I mean, if you're going into that that tree that early,
Gaia or Thieves. I've seen Thieves being built a lot. I mean, typically with a Nike, we kind of see more of that Jotuns being built out, trying to get that Jotun's vigor online, so your shield does a lot of healing as well, which also would have been good to the Alkang, but Alkang is going to run towards this Darji, and that's what he's but the beads is expended, but can they stop the damage? No, Swagmaster going to take out Poppin' Nike, and it's just as we were saying before, there's not much Darji can do in the situation, and Darji didn't even have Palau available to them. So forced to use beads, still die. Sea Serpents get that first blood online, unless Alkang get that tier 2 Doom Orb online. So, Swagmaster feeling pretty good about himself after that invade.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now you have Dodgy beads down. I mean, and Dodgy's already going to struggle against you, but now when your ultimate comes back up, you just know it's free. I mean, well, not free, I guess, because Paolo, of course, but ooh, all right, Petrifret coming out, but Maui's chilling. But I kind of want to talk about Doom Orb, right? That's an item that got changed, and we've seen it be built in mid quite a bit. Obviously, about magical junglers not being picked up as much anymore. Usually, we see the double guardians and then the double hunters, if that's the kind of comp we run. But Doom Orb getting that percent change to be flat pen instead of percent pen helps with that early game power spike so much more.
Yeah.
It feels great on these magical junglers and mid laners if you're building it in that mid lane role. And seeing as he's got that first blood, he's gonna get that picked up even earlier, probably even before this Jotun's.
Master Fisherman doesn't find the market once, with Medusa being forced to use bees to make sure they're not pulled on the tower line, but Darji, lurking in this left jungle once again, has Paolo available to them and could find a mark on to Zelda, but Zelda does have his snipes available, so has that CC immunity to cleanse the chain, but Darji, Poppin' Nike is playing this time we're seeing a lot more patience this time around. We didn't see it game one, but with character like Darshi, you need to be a bit more patient. And with no ward coverage, the Sea Serpents don't even know that she's there. But the big downside of Darshi waiting here, she's not getting farm.
Yeah, I understand it being the patient, but hold on.
Cataclysm down. It does find a lot of damage onto Dean. Dean 1 HP, the bleed ticking, but they can't find it enough. Palau is being used. The chain falls down, but King Bauer is going to take that kill. It's that dual lane with lots of ultimates expended from Papanaki and Boris. Zelda didn't even need to use his, letting his support sacrifice his life for it instead. But that's a good rotation from Papanaki regardless. It helps alleviate some of the pressure that the Sea Serpents has. And I don't know whether this is their plan or not, but to try and play through Aloyti a little bit more, especially after how powerful Aloyti was in game one, especially in that late game period. If you can get Aloyti and fast forward him, put him on the fast track towards that late game, they could be a bit of a win condition. And leaving Pax to kind of be by himself, we're seeing Swagmaster gravitate over towards solo lane. I say as Darji is also in solo lane getting that blue. It could be leaving a bit of an island for the Pax and trying to get Nike to just play the game effectively.
Yeah, we are definitely seeing a shift in strategy. I do want to talk about a little bit about like how Nike is approaching these ganks. He is definitely being a lot more patient and sitting there for a little bit, which is fine. But I don't think you can do it all the time because, like you said, you are missing farm for every second you're standing there. And yeah, it could work out because you're helping out your team in the whatever lane you're at.
Yeah.
But you can also feel free to just go in hard, right? Realize that you have an ultimate that forces somebody to use beads or their ultimate. You take those tools away and then come back around the next time and then be obnoxious when you have an opening or give your teammate an opening, right? Obviously, taking away beads or CC mute ult away from Medusa is amazing because then that petrified can come in and especially if it cuts someone off guard, it could be really obnoxious to deal with. So I want to see Nike not be afraid to just kind of go in just to grab something if you can. And also just be in mind of your jungle. But yeah, we are definitely a little deep there, Nike. Oh.
Yeah. Another Darji. This is a Darji in danger with 3 people on that track. Melanie makes a rotation in, but here comes Geb, gets a good cleanse, but that shield evaporates pretty quickly. Cataclysm forces beads out of the Ao Kang. The snipes come in. The execute doesn't find the mark. Does get the beads flying. Finds Pal off that immunity. But Boris takes out Hershey. Darshi is living by a thread. Swagmaster finally comes in. Gets that kill. Marty has made the rotation in. Death from above doesn't find a lot of marks. Ao Kang takes some damage and is onked, but is going to get away with the safety of his team. Dean doing a good job zoning the ADC and the support from the rest of that fight. But Poppin Nike definitely made a choice there to invade. Yes, you got the green buff, but at what cost?
Yeah, I appreciate the aggression, but you also need to be very mindful of where your opponents are and where you are on the map because you just get sandwiched like that. Kind of interesting that he canceled the Paolo so early and like literally went right down where he was instead of trying to like give him a little bit of distance and land a little bit further out. I don't know if that would have guaranteed him to survive, but at least maybe delay their opponent a little bit longer or put him in a weird position. Granted, it was a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, Nike.
Speaking about being a little bit too deep, we see another situation with Merlin once again making that rotation over towards Nike this time around. The map-wide Merlin, you never see it coming, but Nike with no ult available is taking a lot of damage, but jumps over the wall and baiting all 4 onto one side. But Ao Kang is going deep, going to try and find this damage. Maui trying to find that stun, can't find it, but going to use that Master Fisherman to knock him down. Dean takes out Pax, and we're seeing an all-out Cthulhu. Cthulhu just 1 centimeter just to get the beats out. But Ao Kang isn't done just yet. Doesn't find dragons, but is taking a lot of his damage as he follows the trail of the Marty one. Geb going to try and roll out, baiting up, but Cataclysm misses the mark, threads the needle. Meanwhile, Dean just going to try and hook around and is going to start just being a nuisance. Once again, Headhunters playing aggressively but being punished for it. It's a very different strat that isn't quite working out for them just yet. They're trying to make the use out of the early game pressure that Ao Kang has, and they're just not finding that mark in return.
So, Spark, I'm going to ask you a question. When you are, not sure where your enemy is, what do you like to have on the map?
Wards, more than likely.
Yeah, exactly. How many wards do you see on that right side of the map?
I see for the red team a grand total of 2 on the ADC sides. Like in comparison to where the blue ones are, they're pretty much on top of each other.
Yeah, but do you see any around that mid mark?
Nope. I also see none deep where we see the enemy team keep going.
Yes, exactly. Uh, maybe
Uh,
Dachi should. No, next, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dashi might get out. The Outgang ult was expended early just as a form of CC to try and get the team back in, but all 3
Oh my
members.
goodness.
What? Zelda! Zelda also made the rotation. We just see snipes coming from the left side. That was quite literally a compass point of death for Dashi. There was nowhere Papanaki could go. But now Medusa is next up. Petrified comes out. We
Oh,
do see
good.
some beats expended, but doesn't find
Mhm.
Outgang. Aloyti biding the time of the ages takes out one. And it's Zelda trying to find his way in, but Zelda
Oh,
falls down. That's a
beautiful.
double kill for Aloyti. And I
Oh,
don't know what Medusa was doing. I don't know whether she was like a
fan
spam
lapping.
lap or not. Yeah, and this could be some more damage. Cataclysm expended, try and keep Aloyti alive. Is gonna make it. Even uses Horrific to get Dean away from his ADC. Here comes Marticarus as well. They're gonna try and find Dean. The counter rotation is a lot better from the headhunters this time around, but they've realized they can't kill this tank just yet, and are gonna back away. But Aloysi pretty happy with himself, giving himself that pressure, and has himself a 2-level lead compared to a 2-level deficit from game one.
I am a Aloyde Camballeris fan club now. That was just so beautifully played. I mean, the petrify. Sure, you didn't get neither of you didn't stun them, and obviously it's kind of hard to
You got
realistically get
both
the
these.
stun. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, exactly, yeah, relics, but it's really hard to realistically get the stun off just because one, if you have the beads, you're going to use them, or two, you're you are just going to look away. Yeah. Listen, Cthulhu should be fine. Yeah, okay. I was say
Yeah.
he's a big squid. He's all right. But I just the confidence to play that out and just the damage. And unfortunately for Alquan, he got the invisible dash off, but the poison from Medusa made sure that he just lost that invisibility right away. So Aloy to be able to just throw that one auto to finish that off, and then Ballers with the beautifully timed rotation, the perfectly timed shield, the knock up, and everything. Just fantastic support, and even peeled off of peeled for Medusa again when the
Ooh.
rotation happened. And now, I mean, look at this. This is just such a different lane from game number one.
Yeah, a 3-level lead onto Zelda. Zelda is not afraid to fight either, but Aloyti now has so much presence from this lane and is definitely finding their foot. They had to get themselves in a bit of a warm-up match, but now they find their mark as we see the Headhunters make another rotation towards this jungle.
Oh my
They're looking
goodness.
for
Oh
damage.
my
That
goodness.
doesn't find the dash. Zelda taking a lot of damage, but the poison doesn't kill. So now it's down to Dean. He still has his jump around, pops the Horrific to give himself some respite. But here comes Ao Kang. The fight is turned a good shield to cleanse the ult. We see a Cataclysm as well, just to stop the fight from even happening in the first place. Merlin comes in around the back, followed by Marty, but the fight is already over by the time these mid laners make their way. And I think both teams realize that, especially with Gold Fury as an option, something they need to take care of. As we see a bit of a teleporter come out from Darshi going from left to right. I don't know what you plan to find, Mr. Darshi. As we see an invade come out from Nike, Ao Kang is going to take this a 1v3 as Cthulhu comes in, making it a 2v3, but that damage is so low, and Ryan takes out against Swagmaster. Cthulhu is now in Descent to Madness, takes out Pop and Nike from the transformation alone, forces Marty beads as we see a rotation from Medusa coming on the teleporter as well. Dean is going to halt that advance as the rest of the fight comes in. Merlin going to throw some damage over the wall, got some good shred, doesn't care about particle barrier, but Marty going to back inside of his grass. They don't know that's happening unless there's a ward there, which there isn't. So Sea Serpents are going to take that punish in a jungle for jungle situation once again. We're seeing a lot of those this set. Just jungle for jungle trades.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're looking at Papanike's stat line 0-4-3, and maybe on a quick glance, you're like, wow, he's doing terrible. I would say the opposite. I think he's making a massive impact. I mean, he's got those 3 assists, and he's been coming into his fights. He's been very present this game, which is really good. I mean, he was struggling hard last game against the Wheelix. He just obviously when the Wheelix is just starting to snowball, it's hard for anyone to deal with the Wheelix. But I'm liking this from Papa Nike a lot better. And like I said,
Yeah.
stat line aside, it's a good showing. I, you know, I'm excited to see how we see this transition into this late game because at the moment they're getting scrappy, right? They are doing a lot of fights. They're not able to get anything out of them. Because gold is now up. You know, FG is up if you really want to try to steal that. But I mean, good luck. But
That's going to be a bit of a stretch, yeah.
yeah. I mean, we got the tier 1 towers on the left side down. There's things up that you can be trying to like fight over, but neither team able to find an opening for anything.
Yeah, and I mean, neither team has an inherent
Well,
gold lead, really. 200 gold, just gone up to 1,000 on that tower take towards the Sea Serpents over the Headhunters. But it's just a very good fight overall. And with Pop and Nike transitioning more into what the support type jungle, I think that's what they were talking about during the picks and bans, because we saw a Hun Bats being hovered, which is the same kind of what you want from the jungle in the situation for the Headhunters. It has someone that can burn beads, but isn't afraid to take the 1v1 fights. And this Darji isn't afraid to take these 1v1 fights and just wait out the time for the rest of the team to come in and make the rotation, and then allow people like Aloyti Boris to come in and be the true team fight aspect. The same thing would have happened with the Hun Bats, and either way, it's really working out for this Headhunters as we see the teams take a pause real quick. I don't know how long this will be. Looks like Kyle said it needs to restart, so we will take a short break as the teams get themselves resituated. So see you all shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to Frank's for Time at Home in the middle of Game 2 of this Sea Serpents versus Headhunters quarterfinals matchup. And we're seeing big difference between the two teams right now, Game 1, the Headhunters had a very rough early game, but they're clawing it back, keeping themselves in the game and having some significant leads. You take a look at this duo lane, which was very dominated by Zell early on, but now Loyalty on this Medusa 3-level lead, which is really a big step up coming up. And also King Boris a 2-level lead on the support role. Not as impactful, but with how Boris is playing, it's really, really good for this Headhunters, especially when it comes towards these mid-game team fights, which is where the Sea Serpents want to take these fights.
So something I just noticed is, last game I complained about no sovereignty. Now we have 2 of them. We don't need 2 of them.
And we just see the Headhunters shred the Go Fury. That was way too quick for us to even notice.
I mean, hey, this is where the double hunter comp kind of comes in clutch. Especially, I mean, you know what? I will still be a mannequin satyr, but like, this is where it does help. I mean, extra damage to these jungle bosses it really can add up, especially with the upgrade. So
yeah,
and now that Sea Serpents lack that, I mean, I guess you have the snipes to worry about, sure, but now they lack the Earthshaker to reliably steal and secure it. You can kind of like try to sneak these. You have the damage, so this Sea Serpents need to be aware of this, and just great recognition on Odin Hunter's part to like realize what one big strength of their comp. So
yeah. And we see a big fight coming out around this beacon once again, but Cthulhu taking so much of his health from this shred with all 5 members of Headhunters present. The Sea Serpents know they can't even really step up, especially after losing Kaio's almost entire health bar, but this means another free objective for the Headhunters. They step over towards this Pyromancer. You don't have many people here, but Nike going to teleport over to stop that split push from Zelda. Zelda going to make his rotation in, but with the Pyromancer confirmed for the Headhunters, that's a runic bomb on their side. On a Loyalty, though, is an interesting pick as they try and look for what a Petrify from Medusa. Medusa takes out Trust with Scale with the poison damage, and it's all in their favor. The Headhunters on the aggressive. Darcy teleports in, trying to find some damage to Aokang. Aokang forced to use the ultimate to stop themselves, but Palau popped. All chains missed. Unfortunate for Pop and Nike, as we see a good stun come out from Dean, but he is going to be left for the Wolves as he gets shredded by the double ADC there. Krusty's picking up that kill, a tier 1 tower, and a Pyromancer. Zelda is now coming up as we see the entire team rotating. Good knock up from Nike to push him back in towards his team. Orion Pax doing the Lord's work, but the dash is good by Zelda. Sentinel of Zeus, not enough. Can Zell make it out? Slap 1, slap 2 misses. The Aegis, he's living, but Nike gets the bleed damage. That's enough for them, but Aokang wants to get this kill on to the Darcy finds the slap of the sword, takes out Nike, and I think he needs to get out. Zelda does sacrifice his life for about a jungle death as Cthulhu makes his way back in, and we're playing Arena now. And I think they finally realize the Sea Serpents needs to back away from this fight as they disengage and try and regroup.
Huh. All right. Well, yeah, we're seeing Trust Me Scale play like it's game 1. He thinks he's invincible because they kind of were. They had such a nice lead, a nice buffer that they were extra tanky. Well, now you have a level 19 Medusa on the other side instead of the level 14 Ishtar.
Yeah.
And she's gonna hurt, and we are seeing that. Trust Me, Scales just cannot catch a break. He is just getting burnt alive, and they Sea Serpents need to realize this, that they need to approach these fights differently, because you're not gonna live very long if you keep playing it like this. And just oh my goodness, so beautifully played there by Ron and Pax. I want to give him a huge shout out. Obviously, a Walker player subbing in here as well, and then making plays like that. Beautiful usage of Nike's shield. I mean, where's Zelda gonna go? Nowhere. That's where. I mean, I guess technically he was able to get through eventually when Orion was forced to get out of the shield, but like, it's just wonderfully done. It's like a new team. This is great showing. I Sea Serpents are really struggling to find their footing into this game number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very important for them to make these changes to how this team fights approach. We're seeing them take the resolvers. We're seeing fights back out, and Cthulhu is in danger. Once again, a great knock-up by Orion Pax forces descent, and the Headhunters are going to be happy with that. Get a 4-man knock-up, though, into some Merlin damage, but they're not afraid to take this fight. We talked about counter building on the side of the Sea Serpents. Another 3-man knock-up. Stop grouping. 3-man ultimate from Maui into a Cataclysm. Means that Bar's going to take out that skill into Kaio. Death from above pop to stop that CC chain. But Dean is next in danger. He's in the Wolves. There's 5 members trying to find something. Uses the solo grab to try and buy some time, but they cancelled the escape. He's going to take that kill, and with these health bars, they're going to run it down the right side. Zelda is split pushing left, doing what ADCs do, and with an outcount coming up their backline, he has that Bancroft Typhons online. Going to try and find something, going straight for Lloydie. He knows his target, but takes so much damage, forces beats, and uses the ultimate to get some reprieve, but I don't think Ryan Pax cares. Is going to take some damage from Merlin in return there and force that disengage, but Swagmaster does get out. That's a tier 2 tower down for the Headhunters, and they are happy with that push in themselves because that's given them a lot more presence on this side of the map.
I love visual glitch like that. My brain kind of like froze for a second. I saw Merlin just walk through the door. Yeah, that. Oh my goodness! Such massive ultimates thrown out by these supports on both sides, but unfortunately, I mean, one of the supports had their team there, the other really didn't, and that was the main difference. Zelda split pushing, and I get the call, I get the reasoning, similar to Lodi last game, right? You're behind. If you rotate over there, I mean, what's really going to happen? It feels like maybe you'll be forced to back up to your tier 2 and have to defend it that way. But now we see Rama's level 20. He's got Leader's Cowl, such a probably in my opinion the best starter upgrade for ADCs. It really does add up. But now that that's there, I think that's going to make a big difference for these team fights. Hopefully, assuming that they will group as 5, because right now what we're seeing is this Odin's Headhunters team. They're playing like a team. You know, they're not trying to do a lot of these one-off kills, you know, and that was the Sea Serpent's biggest strengths in game 1. But now we're running into similar issues. Alquan was able to kind of get away with a couple things early in the game like that, but now not be able to find his mark as an FG being started, and we just saw Cthulhu back. I wonder if they're aware.
Yeah, look at this shred already. It's already half HP. Effigy just full. As we see a pause come out, is this a combat pause? Look at Merlin. Just Merlin is ready to come towards this fight, looking towards Nike. I think Nike's just about to start slapping him. Nike current action could start looking towards him, but I don't think he actually realized.
He's gonna be in for a rude awakening when they on pause and just get smacked by a friend.
But while we take this this kind of moment of reprieve from ourselves as we try and figure out what's going on, I want to talk about the counter building, because we talked about the solve on the side of the Sea Serpents, but there's a big change in how the team have built on the Headhunters as well. Nike's opted for a Void Shield for their 2 hunters that are doing a lot of work, and Marty has opted to go for a Fail Knot instead of Jotuns in that slot, which is going to allow both him and Medusa to do more auto attack damage, and we're seeing how useful that is in these team fights. When they look for one target, that target's getting absolutely shredded.
Yeah, this is just you know, this is what I like about Smite, and just kind of seeing how teams play the game differently, right? Game 1 was so rough for Headhunters, and yes, I know they won, but like it was rough for 35 minutes. But now they look like a completely different team, and they switch things up. They switch up how they're building, how they're playing. I mean, half the draft's different. There's just a lot of things that are going a lot better, and I'm liking the adjustments made by this Odin Headhunters team.
Still not entirely sure what's going on with the teams here. Hopefully we get back in. I don't know if it's worth taking a small break.
No.
I think both teams are ready to get back into it as this Fire Giant coming in, and this could be a big power spike for the Headhunters if they get this. But if Hershey is allowed to just step in there, get that shred down, he could get a steal away. And I also want to point out Zelda coming up the rear as well, has snipes available, could be dangerous, and the Headhunters don't have enough zoning potential. So as we walk into this kind of fight going in, both teams need to be very careful about what happens, because the consequences could be dire. A base could be cracked.
In my opinion, you have Dodgy get off Fire Giant and go right after this Merlin, because you have Double Hunter. You are still going to shred it, and yeah, the Dodgy damage will help, but you have an upgraded mannequins on this Medusa who's huge. Let the hunters do their job as we just Narden did recognize the Nike. Okay, I was gonna say,
Just
but
waiting for that teleport Millen
okay.
getting forced out immediately. But guess who's in there? Ram trying to find his way and goes in the sky trying to find something, but descending into madness. Look at that shred onto Cthulhu. Cthulhu doesn't stand a chance. No old god Mad is there trying to find some damage to Maui. That fail not proc is on. Ram going to go on the left side, get some safety, but he's got to fight this Darji. Darji is losing that fight though. But guess who's around? The rest of the team. They've all got mobility. Zelda is in danger, but is going to dash away. Instead, the Headhunters aren't going to chase. Leave it towards the Darshi, who's got that mobility, takes out Zelda. And the Headhunters are going to push it down this mid lane. They use the bomb. They actually got the bomb on, showing Kaio how it's done. And they're going to crack the base and go for the end instead. It is a 5v2 situation. 10 seconds until Dean comes in. Particle barrier being used to try and stop someone, but can't find that damage. Half HP on the Titan, but these health bars are getting lower and lower. Hershey takes out one onto Boris, but Ao Kang takes another one to Pop and Nike. It's a 3v3 now. It's dangerous. Swagmaster takes out a second onto Krusty's, looking for more, but Orion takes out Hershey. It's an all-out brawl. Swagmaster with a triple kill comes in. Heroic base defense from the Sea Serpents, leaving only Pax, but Pax is being chased down by this Ao Kang. He's looking for the quad, but he knows he can't get it. Nike baits the jump over the wall, leaves Ao Kang to go over, but stops the back and then jumps over. Pax playing that almost pitch perfectly as the rest of the team falls. But Sea Serpent staying in the game after an early end call from the Headhunters.
You know, okay, so in my opinion, I don't think the call was bad. A little bit risky, sure, but like I see it and I think it was possible. However, I think they 100% should not have bombed Bird. That's an extra 1,000 damage just for the Titan. And yes, that would not have killed it with how that fight played out. But I think if you were gonna make the end call or you were looking for the end, you should realize that the bomb's best used for that Bird. But I mean, hey, got a mid bird down. Odin Handlers are in a great position right now.
Yeah, and as we say that, the Sea Serpents try and take this tier 2 tower, but with another failed siege, the Headhunters regroup, force Cthulhu to back away, take out the other tank in Dean, and this is setting themselves up for a really good chance at breaking the base once again. They do have the tower, the tier 1 or tier 2 tower in the left lane, but with the Phoenix down, the Titan room half HP, they've got a lot of things they can work through to stop the Sea Serpents in their tracks. The Headhunters, it's their game to lose right now. And the Sea Serpents, they could pull off another heroic defense. They still have a lot of things available to them. With Hershey's Shred, he's got a lot of ways to poke out the enemy, and Swagmaster did a great job of getting into the backline and just taking out those prior targets. If we see that again, the Headhunters may have another failed attempt, but they're just going to take that tier 2 tower and back away this time. Not going to opt for any more dangerous plays, because if they get decided, if they lose too many people, the Sea Serpents could take more off them as well.
Yeah, 100% the right call. You only have Orion with that FG buff, and I mean, is it really worth to go for that left Phoenix? Absolutely not. Like I said, the risk of a D side is just not worth because you can lose the game off of it. So why not just get the other objectives up on that? Get the Primal Fury and make your next FG pull a lot easier, especially since it will most likely be an EFG, assuming they don't burn it within the first minute it spawns.
Yeah.
But it, yeah, so silly. But then you get the Pyromancer as well, and get another bomb in your arsenal. Just utilize. Don't rush it. Don't get too greedy. Realize that you have a lot of things you could be grabbing on the map. Grab their farm. Grab your own farm. Get everything you can. Beacon is spawning here shortly. There's a lot of things you could be grabbing and utilizing. So just be patient.
Yeah, and the Headhunters are doing a great job at realizing that not to make many mistakes, as they know if they win this game, that puts them through to the semifinals. So they don't want to make any unnecessary mistakes and elongate these matches. So just going to bide their time, be a little bit patient. We see a lot of ward coverage from them this time around. They want to control it as they start setting up for this Fire Giant. Look at that triple ward vision under the under the Fire Giant pit. They want to make sure they know where the C7s are coming from. The Jews are going to go over to the beacon, get that extra poke damage onto the Phoenixes and try and I think that breaks the Phoenix in the mid. I think the damage is enough to break the Phoenix in the mid, possibly. I could be wrong on that. We'll
It can't.
find out in a second.
It can't. It can't destroy.
Oh,
Or, destroy towers.
yeah. Well, we see it at 1 HP, so someone can just step up there. But it looks like the Sea Serpents, they're just gonna hold the fort, send one person there, as the rest of the team go over to contest this Fire Giant. As we see them go towards the right lane, push out the minions, and just try and bait them into a fight. Because if the Headhunters win this fight, that's game. Like, surely they take one kill here and that's game. Ao Kang almost got pulled out of position there. I think if Darji found that teleport over the wall, that could have been the death of an Ao Kang, but the Fire Giant pulled, but it's already been burned so quickly by the team. Cthulhu comes in, trying to find the damage. Sea Serpent with a Fire Giant away. Darji pulled into Palau, trying to find someone. A good ultimate from Medusa gets a good slow onto the 2 tanks of the team, but Master Fisherman finds the team. The 2 tanks taking so much damage. Swagmaster in the backline assassinates Poppin Nike and is playing from the side of the Headhunters. They're grouping up. They're trying to find the targets and the damage dealers. Nike is going to be the front line for this team, trying to find something as they've realized the Ao Kang is in the back. They can't aggress any further. A slowing ward to try and put them in. Ao Kang trying to take out the Marticarus, but he gets a lot of healing from 1 poke damage, but that beads forced into the air. He's trying to find some damage, can't find the Ao Kang, straight into the grasp. Kaio takes that kill. Zelda doing a lot of damage. The Sea Serpents are looking for this game end now. One mistake, it's all over. Aloyti falls. Their carry is down. It's down to the 2 tanks, and with King Boris trying to survive, he can't. Nike is left to survive the onslaught of 5 members of Sea Serpents, all with Fire Giant. I think this is going to be a game as that Phoenix gets absolutely shredded. This could be out, but Darshi back in. Can they do the return defense? It's possible, but there's a Merlin you have to contest with. The health bar's going down. Nike is trying to survive, but Zell is getting some good chain autos in. Darshi trying to find some damage with 5 members down, and it's gone. Titan Room is conquered by the Sea Serpents off 1 failed siege, and they take gate 2, leaving it in a 1-1 state. It's all to play for in the next match.
Okay. So you make the call to 50-50 it, right? Clearly, because you let Cthulhu walk up and just steal it away from you. Okay, that's fine. That people make that calls like that all the time. And you make the call to chase a little bit afterwards, trying to maybe take a fight, maybe see if you can get something, a pick off of somebody or something. What you should not have done is chase them all the way to their tier 2 tower, because that was the turning point. You lost your jungler in the back to an Alquan, and actually at that point you should have realized, hey, we don't have a dodgy. Alquan's somewhere behind us. This is not a good spot for us to be in. We need to get out of dodge. And they didn't. They were so focused on trying to make sure that Cthulhu, trying to get revenge, like, hey, that was my FG, that they chased him for so long. And it just let, Mr. Caesar be like, okay, we'll turn around this fight. Cthulhu backed. Cthulhu TP'd in, and then that was it. That was the one moment that they threw the entire game away right there. I agree with the call that you wanted to, and I understand you wanted to try to get something. But as soon as they were starting to get away, and definitely as soon as your dodgy fell, you back off. There's no need for you to chase that much.
Yeah.
So, and it's a bummer, but that's the nature of Smite. So now we're in a game 3 situation, and both teams have through their games to get here. So now I'm curious who's going to do it for the 3rd time here.
Will we see a game of throws, if you will, or is this going to be much more combatant? We can find out after a small break, as both the teams and ourselves have a little bit of time to recuperate. So we will see you all shortly for game 3 to decide who goes on to semifinals.